Hi, everyone. Welcome to our workshop on how to be irreplaceable in these difficult times. Before we dive in, I have a couple questions for you. And put a yes in the chat if your answer to any of these questions is yes. Put a yes in chat if you're struggling to have your ideas taken seriously. When you share your idea, people don't really listen. They're like, nah, we're not going to do that. When you're like, and they don't really listen to your recommendation, they shoot it down, they disregard it. Put a yes in chat if you're struggling to have your ideas taken seriously. Yes. Okay, I see a lot of yeses coming through. Put a yes in chat if you are feeling like an imposter in your role. You doubt your abilities. You wonder, am I qualified to be here? Did I get here because I was lucky? Yes, 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 yes. Okay, yeah. And reminder to change your settings to everyone instead of host and panelist. And that way we can all see it. Put a yes in the chat if you feel like others are taking credit for your work. You know, maybe you make a comment in a meeting, no one acknowledges it. And then someone else makes a similar comment and was like, great idea, Mark. You're like, what? I just said that. Or maybe your manager or your teammate has taken credit for your work, analysis you've done, ideas. Yes, yes, exactly. Charlene's with the thumbs up. Maria with the exactly in caps. I love it. Exclamation marks. And finally, put a yes in the chat if you're not sure how to stand out. You're not sure how to be indispensable in these difficult times, in the midst of budget cuts, layoffs, markets turning. Put a yes in the chat if you're not sure how to stand out. You're exhausted from trying to figure out how to. Yes, 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 yes. I love this energy. I can definitely relate to all of these. Hi, everyone. I am Shivani Berry. I'm the CEO and founder of Arise Leadership. We offer online leadership programs for women to help them move into management. And I'm so excited to be here and do this collab with Girl Boss and to have you all be here with us today. Thank you so much for joining. You know, I have definitely been in your shoes, knowing how you feel. So earlier in my career, I was interning at Lehman Brothers in their investment banking division. And I got laid off in the midst of these budget cuts, the company not doing well, the financial crisis was just starting. And I was panicking. I didn't have a job. I didn't have job security. I didn't have income coming in. What do I do? So I was able to hustle and landed a job at Credit Suisse in their investment banking department, a really great job. And a few weeks later, for those of you who aren't so familiar with Lehman Brothers, a few weeks later, the company went bankrupt. And that experience was such a aha shakeup moment for me, and really just, made me realize how much I have to take control of my own career. Within a year of joining Credit Suisse, I was ranked in their top buckets, basically as the top performer in the organization. And so today, I want to share with you the skills and the mindset and the tools, the secrets essentially that I have used and thousands of women that I work with have used to get promoted and have a voice at the table at Fortune 500 companies. I'm going to go through practical skills that you can use that you can apply right away today. And if you have any questions while we're talking, drop them in the chat. So hit the Q&A icon in your Zoom screen in the bottom right and just drop it in the Q&A icon. You can add and upvote questions throughout our time together. And you can ask anything. So even specific situations you're facing, feel free to drop that into the Q&A icon. And I want this to be fun for you. This is an investment in yourself. Thank you so much for joining. You're doing this for you. And so if something resonates, again, drop that in the chat. We're going to have fun together and learn at the same time. Reminder to change your settings to everyone instead of host and panelist so everyone can see it. So today I'm going to go through some practical strategies that you can apply right away. Share some questions to help you reflect as we go through this. And then I'm going to, after giving you tons of this free advice, I'm going to share with you the Leadership Accelerator that I host for women that's going to come up in October. So drop in the chat if you want to learn more about this program. Yep, perfect. Of course. No problem, KJ. Amazing. So, as we're diving in, I want to share with you some of the myths that I often find the women that I work with really struggle with. One, good work is enough to make me irreplaceable. If I deliver good results, they'll see how much they need me. I can't get promoted because my company has budget cuts and frozen hiring. There's no room. No one's getting promoted. False. If I ask for a promotion, they think I am not a team player. I'm self-centered. I'm too focused on the promotion and not do my job. Putting in more hours than others will make me more valuable. If I work harder, if I stay up on the weekends working, if I work into the night, they'll appreciate me. They'll recognize me. They'll see how much of an impact I'm driving. Loyalty to my team will be rewarded. They'll have my back. If I just stay on this team, I work hard to have good results, keep my head down, they'll take care of me. They'll push for me. They'll advocate for me. They'll make sure that I have that job security. They'll make sure I'm getting that promotion. Put a yes in chat if you're guilty of believing these statements. Put a yes in the chat if you're guilty of believing these statements. Yes, 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 all day long. Thanks, Diana. Duh, I love that. Yep, 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 yep. I've been there and have been burned. Yeah, sorry about that. Yep, 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 yep. Yeah. So really, this is why I want us to have this conversation. Because the thing is, you have to own your own career development. And I want to share with you that all these things are false and what you can actually do in place of that to make sure that you do stand out, to make sure you do get the growth that you're seeking. The good news is there's no secret formula on how you can go do this. There is a step-by-step playbook, which I will introduce you to, but there's nothing secret that you can't have access to. And it's introvert friendly. It doesn't have to feel icky. It doesn't have to feel political. It can actually feel very natural and organic. It doesn't mean that you're showing off or bragging when you ask for these things, when you take control of your career. The thing is, you have to own your own career development. Even the best managers are not going to advocate for you in the way that you can. You have to take charge. You have to figure out, where do I want to go in my career? What do I have to do to secure my spot? What are the skills I have to develop? What are the trainings I have to take? What are the kind of projects I have to work on? And how am I going to go get that? And you have to make it happen for yourself. You can't wait for anyone to do it because they're not going to do it for you. And when you do this, when you do everything in your control, you'll be more likely set up for success. And yeah, of course, things will happen. It's not 100% guaranteed, but at least you know that you've done everything in your power to make sure that you're secure. And you'll be surprised by how effective it is in getting you the results that you want. And I've seen this thousands and thousands of times, not only from my own experience, but from all the women that we work with. These high achieving women at the top companies, making sure that they're landing the roles that they want, making sure they're getting the recognition that they want. The thing is, there are no cheap shortcuts. You have to put in the time. And the first step is you already showing up here today. We dive into this in a really deep way in the Arise Leadership Accelerator, an online leadership program designed to help women like you develop the skills you need to have a voice at the table, gain confidence, and get promoted faster. We've seen this with so many of the women from Fortune 500 companies that we work with. I'm going to share more about that later on. First, let's dive in and introduce you to the Irreplaceable playbook. So really, there's 3 key components of this, and these are the things that you need to start thinking about to help make sure that you do stand out in these situations. First is your mindset, that belief, and I'll talk to you in a second about what that means. Second is advocating for yourself, and third is influencing. So the practical skills you need to make sure that your ideas are seen and heard and accepted. People want to follow it. And so to share how much of an impact this can have on you and how quickly that impact can have, I want to introduce you to Jazz. So Jazz is a customer experience manager at Bear. She graduated from the Rise Leadership Accelerator in April, so just a few weeks ago. And when she joined, her company had frozen hiring. They were having a ton of budget cuts. She had a really terrible relationship with her manager. And really strained. I think many of us can relate to having that relationship but that relationship is so important, right? They're the ones who have such a big influence over how our career is, what kind of projects we work on. And she was able to use the program tools to, one, turn around that relationship with her manager, to build it in a way that lots of trust, lots of mutual respect, so much so that he became an ally for her and started advocating for her. She also used the program tools to help her. Now that she knew how to influence, she was able to convey more compelling ideas in meetings. She was able to assert herself, to get support on drive alignment. and advocated for herself that 1 week after graduating from the program, she got promoted to take on two new key responsibilities within the company. So quickly, she got that promotion. And she was able to turn around that relationship with her manager where he now advocated for her. That is what happens when you follow the Irreplaceable playbook. When you do that, you're able to achieve things that have been blocking you for years, that stress you out, that keep you up at night. When you follow the step-by-step formula, you're able to get that growth that you're seeking and have a voice at the table. So diving into it, the first thing is mindset. Really around it is, for many of us, it shows up as imposter syndrome, self-doubt. We often can tell ourselves that, I got lucky. I'm not good enough. I'll get caught. They'll realize I shouldn't be here. I'm not qualified. For me, this showed up for me a lot when I was first promoted to a people manager in one of my previous roles. I'd never done the job before. I was really feeling like, I don't know why the company gave me this role. I was so scared and stepped into it with so much dread and playing myself small that I didn't even ask for a salary raise to go along with the promotion to reflect that increased responsibility. I was afraid that if they had to pay me more money, they would reconsider it and take that promotion away from me. I realized that I just didn't want to risk it. And so for me, and probably for you too, you can think of a million reasons why we don't deserve it. Maybe that one mistake that you made, we're like, oh no, I'm not good enough. I'm actually not qualified. I'm not ready to speak on this topic. You're in a meeting where everybody else is chatting. You're like, oh, I don't have this perfect idea. I haven't fully thought through it. It's not fully baked. So you hold back from sharing your idea. Put it in the chat. What reason are you telling yourself right now about why you're not getting promoted? Put in the chat. What reason are you telling yourself right now about why you're not getting promoted? My experience, I'm junior, layoff, salary reduction, small team. I just don't have the skills they want. No college degree. Not part of that mean clique that gets promoted. Layoff, certification. I'm already the limit of my salary. I don't trust myself, so I don't have the confidence in my data and work to advocate for my ideas. KJ, thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's so real. That's so many of us. So the reason why the mindset is so important, because if we have this self-limiting mindset, then we're not going to break out of it. Then we're not going to be able to go ask for these opportunities. Because if we don't believe in ourselves, why should anyone else? If we are scared to make a comment in a meeting, then how can we expect our manager to give us these speaking opportunities? If we don't think we're deserving of that raise, that promotion, we don't think we have the right skill sets, and we're not doing anything about it, then how do we expect our managers to help us get that promotion? So you got to tackle that imposter syndrome first. I'll tell you there on how you can go do that. And really, the second thing is you got to be able to advocate for yourself. You need to be able to, and here I often hear like, yeah, but it's bragging if I talk about my work. It's bragging if I talk about the results I've driven, the process I've done. Put a yes in chat. Are you guilty of not talking about your work? You hold back. You're like, oh, this isn't the full update. The project hasn't rolled out yet. This feels too small to share out. Put a yes in chat. If this is you can relate to this. You hold back on sharing work. Yes, 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 yes. All right. Well, here's why you've got to start sharing your work. Because sharing your work is a way for you to showcase your value. When you don't talk about what you're working on, people assume that you're not making progress. People assume that you're not delivering results. People assume that you're not working on anything important. You have to start sending regular updates and one-on-ones with your manager. You have to share, like, here's what I've done so far. Here's the results we've seen. You have to showcase your value in order to do that. Now, that's the first part. And the second part is you actually have to go ask for what you deserve. But so often I hear, yeah, but getting a no is a failure. If I ask for this opportunity, if I ask to speak at the next meeting, if I ask to take on this new career development opportunity and I get a no, that's embarrassing. That's a failure. I can't get a no. The thing is, getting a no is actually very natural. You work with smart, ambitious people. And if you're getting a yes 100% of the time, then you're probably not putting yourself out there enough. I have asked for every single salary raise and promotion I've gotten. And along the way, I've gotten no's. But that's actually created an opening for me to figure out what needs to happen in order for me to get promoted, in order for that to turn into a yes. And in order for you to be able to ask for what you deserve, you need to offer a really compelling business case. Same way as your company makes a decision about what products to buy, what products to build, what customers to go after, which regions to invest in, they're also going to make a decision about your ask from a business perspective. So you have to frame it for them. And making a case around this in every scenario. So whether you're asking to join a meeting, why should you join? How is that going to help the meeting move forward? To speak at an executive meeting. For example, in one of my previous roles, I was a product lead, and my team was responsible for revamping our core product. This was the top company goals, like super high priority. There was an executive offsite happening for my company. I was not invited because my title was not senior enough to be included into the executive offsite. But I went to my manager and I asked to join, and I explained it. It wasn't just because I want to get that visibility. I explained to him that my team is working on this key priority for the company. If I join, I will be able to answer firsthand questions from the group around about how the project is going, and I'll also be able to listen directly about what are they looking for, what are the expectations, so then we can implement better and execute better to make sure this project is a success. And you're like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Let me think about it. Let me talk to our CEO and come back to you. They came back to me and they're like, yes, you should come present on this and be part of the discussion. I did. It went well. 2 months later, they came back to me and asked me to present at the board of directors meeting. This is of a $1 billion company. Now, if I had not made the original ask to go speak at the executive offsite, they would not have asked me to come speak at the board of directors meeting. From that meeting, not only did I get that visibility and recognition, one of the directors became my mentor. A CFO at a Fortune 500 company is now my mentor through that, just because I made that initial ask. And the reason why that initial ask to speak at the executive offsite was so important was because 2 things. One, they saw that I'm interested in these kind of opportunities. I know often for us, we're like, of course we want that kind of opportunity. It should be obvious, but actually it's not. You have to be able to ask for it. 2, they saw I could handle these kind of opportunities. So you have to be able to make that ask and put yourself out there so people understand that you are able to do it. And we'll talk in a second about how do you develop the skills to be able to go do that to make sure it's successful for the first time around. Other situations where you need to build a business case and ask for what you want. If you want to work in a certain project, certain region, develop a certain type of skill set, you want to expense a professional development opportunity, you ask, practice that. And the nice thing is if they say no, it's okay. So many of our graduates will ask their managers to help them cover the tuition for the leadership program, even partially. And in their mind, they're like, I'm just going to ask, what's the worst case that happens? They say no. And then I'm just going to pay for it myself because I know it's an investment in me. But it's a really nice practice ground to practice asking for things that you're looking for to help you get that growth. Maybe you're asking for a change in your work schedule. You're requesting a salary raise or promotion. All of these things, you always need to build a good business case. Why should they say yes? How does it help them be successful? How does it help your manager be successful? Now, around this time, I always get the question yeah, but what's the right time to advocate? What's the right time to make that ask? The thing is, you should always be thinking about it. It's never too early. Think about it this way. Let's say you want to get promoted 6 months from now. We'll start having the conversations today to understand what you need to do in order to be set up for that promotion. Make that ask. If they say no, understand why. And then you can work on those things to be able to get that promotion later on. And so really for that, it's always make sure that you're making that ask. And it doesn't have to be always around a promotion. It can be, how could I get more? Can I come join this meeting? Can I take on this additional growth opportunity? And frame it in a way that actually helps them. manager, when I come take this leader, I'm like happy to answer these questions in this meeting because we've been in the weeds around it. And so, this means like they'll have to answer less questions. They have to do less prep around it. And so, and it's really explaining like, I want to get that growth. I want to help my company be successful. And I just love to just like, how do we make this happen? And so you're not just always coming in and being focused on like promotion. It's like, I don't want the promotion just for the sake of it. I want the promotion, and here I will be able to take more off your plate. I will be able to drive a bigger impact. I will be able to like take on this new skill set to help deliver our project in a better way. If I go to this program, if I go to this conference, I'll develop skills that will help me help our team be more productive. Like, think about what are the things that your manager, what your team cares about? What's in their goals? How do you make your manager look good? And tie it back to that. Because eventually that is actually what happens. When you perform better, your manager wins, your team wins. It's not just about your own impact. And that's where we got to reframe our mindset. You're not asking for a favor. You are asking for an opportunity to grow and to drive a bigger impact. Let me share a real life example around this. This is Katerina. She works at Google in their retail solutions arm. So before coming to the program, she would tell you herself that she hesitated from speaking up in meetings, and she would ramble a lot because she got nervous and would just keep talking. She would overshare a lot of information. I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that right now. You've been there, you are there right now. So she used the program tools to help her be more concise. The program tools also helped her give her more confidence in her ability. She realized through our imposter reflection that she's actually more qualified for her role than she gave herself credit for. And she used our 3-step framework to help her deliver compelling comments in meetings, so much so that they resonated more with her audience, with her colleagues. They were more willing to listen to them and accept them. And most importantly, she understood why she's actually qualified for her role and is ready for the next level. This helped her land a promotion within Google. She was able to land a more senior role within Google because she used the program tools to present a compelling argument to the hiring manager for why she's ready for that role. And it was impactful because not only did she deliver in a concise and compelling manner, but she believed it herself. That is the importance of being able to advocate for yourself. When you have that belief in yourself, you're able to achieve things that you haven't yet. To stop playing small, to stop letting it hold back. You're like thinking like, oh, I'm too young, I'm too junior, I don't have this skill set. When you advocate for yourself, you go out, take control, and you create that growth that you're seeking for yourself. Even if your company's not providing it right now, you're setting yourself up and just taking control of that. And a big way of doing that is knowing how to influence. So really, if you think about it, the leaders at the top are skilled at influencing. The executives that you follow, that you aspire to be, the one thing they have in common is they're really good at influencing. They're really good at getting people to follow them. And if you think about it, it makes sense, right? As a manager, they're not actually doing the work. They're guiding their team to do the work. Same way as a conductor at a symphony. She's not playing the music herself. She guides the musicians to play beautiful music. So if you want to achieve what the people at the top have achieved, then you also need to be able to lead people, motivate them, influence them. Especially because people are busy. Break it down for them. Why is this idea so important? Put a yes in chat if you're worried that you don't have that it factor that the leaders at the top have. You're like, yeah, I just don't have that magic that they have. Put a yes in the chat if that's you. You're worried that you don't have that it factor. You don't have that magic, that skill set that people just at the top seem to get so well. Yep. Yes. The good news is you can actually build it. You can learn it. Again, no secret formula. Anyone can learn it. And this is why I want to introduce you to the Ascend framework to get buy-in. I'm not bold enough. Elizabeth, thank you so much for sharing that. Everything we're talking about here can help you be more bold, can help you be more assertive, but it doesn't have to feel scary. We do it in a step-by-step way. And I'll share more about the program, how you'll do this. You can do like in a safe space, you can practice role plays and test it out and so when you go deliver in the real world, it's not as scary. But let me first introduce you to the Ascend framework to get buy-in. These are the 6 steps that you need to do in order to actually get people to support your ideas, to get people to listen, be excited to follow through on your recommendations. First, build allies. storytelling, co-creation, empathetic listening. Now, empathetic listening is one of those that when I first heard of, like, yeah, listening, whatever. But when I actually thought about it, I realized I don't actually listen. I am often so focused on what I have to say that I'm not actually listening to what my colleague is saying, especially if I find them annoying or intimidating. I'm so focused on just what I have to say next to get the conversation going. But that actually hurts my ability to collaborate with them, to get their support, because one, they can tell I'm not paying attention. Two, I'm not getting useful information that will help me build a better argument to convince them. The numbers and data and demeanor. You can also think about this as presence or executive presence, how we show up, how people perceive us. Now, you can apply this in any situation with anybody, up, down, and across. Your manager, executives, senior stakeholders, cross-functional partners, your reports, peers, external parties, and really, literally in any situation you're facing, high pressure, last minute, stress stakeholders, dominant personalities. Ooh, those are the people that keep us up at night. The ones who don't seem to respect our expertise. I have had my share of dominant personalities. It's a very popular topic for us in the Rise Leadership Accelerator. It's, when I've had to work with them, they make me feel small. I question my competence. I wonder if they are, I wonder if I'm good enough. Put a yes in chat if you've had to work with dominant personalities. Put a yes in chat if you've had to work with a dominant personality. Yes. Oh, I can feel the frustration, the energy coming through the chat. Yes, far too often. And so when you apply the Ascend framework to get buy-in, you are able to flip these even difficult personalities over and actually gain their respect and have them seek out your opinion. And of course, those last minute meetings, you have half an hour to prepare. You have 5 minutes to prepare. You're speaking on the spot in a meeting. Using the framework to make sure that you are actually able to get people to understand and follow your ideas and be excited to implement them. That is what happens when you know how to influence. Now, again, anyone can do it. It is no secret formula, but it is a step-by-step formula that you have to practice and implement. And then just like baking a cake, when you first learned how to bake a cake, you had no idea what you were doing, but then you followed a recipe. You put in the eggs, you put in the flour, you put in the oven. Your first couple cakes probably sucked. But the more you practice, the better you got at it. It's the same way with learning this framework. The more you practice, the more you implement it, the better results you'll get, and the more natural it becomes. So let me share a real life situation of this happening. This is Althea. She is a product manager, and she joined the program because she was really struggling to work with a couple of dominant personalities, including the chief technology officer, who was an incredibly important stakeholder for her. He was not including her in key meetings. When she did share ideas, he dismissed it. Her team wasn't able to have the impact that they should have. She wasn't getting the promotion that she deserves. You can understand that stress, the anxiety that she was feeling every day coming into work. Just picture your dominant personality in this situation. So she joined the program because she was like, I desperately need to turn this around. I need to understand how to better work with a stakeholder. And then I need to do something in my own control to get that career growth that I'm seeking, to get to the next level. Especially right now when things are tight and nothing's like moving forward. Like, how do I make sure I stand out? How do I make sure I'm indispensable in this situation when I don't have the respect of senior stakeholders? So she used the program tools to help her present more compelling messages. She followed the Ascend framework to get buy-in. In meetings, she was able to, on the spot, share really concise, convincing arguments that dealt directly with people's concerns. Then she took a step further. She decided to give feedback to the CTO around how his behavior was making her feel. Now imagine that. That's scary, right? You're going to a dominant personality and giving them constructive feedback. On top of that, you're going to someone who's super senior in the organization. It can completely blow up in your face. And so what did she do? Well, she followed our framework and she practiced it in the safe space with the program. She did role plays there. And then she went and delivered it to the CTO. The conversation went so well that it had a breakthrough in their relationship. He now comes to her to seek out her input. That's the dream, right? That's what happens when you know how to influence. When you follow this playbook that we're talking about today, you are able to turn stressful situations that are hurting your career, that are keeping you up at night, that are stalling the growth that you're seeking, on their head, and actually turn these relationships into collaborative relationships who really respect what you have to bring and are come out and proactively seek out your opinion. When you build a habit around this, you can do it in any situation. Let me share another story with you. This is Satang. Satang story is incredibly inspiring. She is a first generation immigrant from Africa. She came into a new culture, new company. She works at a multi-billion-dollar company. And, she is super sharp, but she would tell you herself, she shies away from speaking up in meetings. Even though she has the right answer, she questions herself. And she especially shies away in speaking up in meetings with senior leaders or with cross-functional partners, her manager, anyone where she doesn't feel super confident around. Now that is hurting her ability to get visibility and get the resources and support that she needs. A month after graduating from the Leadership Accelerator, she was in a budget meeting with several people from the company, including the chief financial officer. And normally she just sits in back, doesn't talk, because she's one of the most junior people in the room. But when it came time to discuss her team's budget, the CFO was asking about, how is this budget used? Why is this necessary? She used the tools that she learned from Arise to present a very convincing message, very articulate around how this budget will be needed. And she asked for $1 million of budget. That's a big ask. The CFO approved it on the spot. She got $1 million of budget just because she was able to leverage the framework and position her idea in a way that was very compelling and hard to say no. Afterwards, she got so many messages from her colleagues like, good job, that was amazing. And that is the power of when you take control of your career, when you develop these skills to influence, you are able to get asks that you might think right now are impossible. She was able to get the resources she needed for her team to hit their goals and be successful. So keep this in mind to help you understand the possibilities that open up when you know how to influence. So today, what we've covered is the Irreplaceable playbook. Mindset. How do you advocate for yourself? And finally, influencing, these critical skills that you need to have in order to advocate for your own career growth, in order to ask for a salary raise, promotion, growth opportunities, speaking up in meetings, getting to work on new projects, and then on projects and then for your own ideas, to drive alignment on what's the right problem to solve, to share an update out and make sure everyone's on the same page on how their project is progressing, to get people to say yes to your recommendation, even dominant personalities. And so I shared with you many stories about how impactful this can be, including Jazz, who got promoted and got given 2 key responsibilities within a week of graduating from the leadership program. She was able to use the tools to really turn around her performance and stand out as someone who can take on more responsibility. So in Arise, we're all about action. I want you to take a second right now and think about, where do you want to be 6 months from now? Maybe for you, that is in a new promotion. Maybe that is for you feeling more confident in yourself. Maybe that's taking on more of a role on the project that you're working on, or your team. Being set up to work, building a strong relationship with the key stakeholder. Think about, where do you want to be 6 months from now? Be in the conversation for who should get the next growth opportunity, who should get the next visibility, the next promotion. And then what's one strategy that you're going to commit to right now to apply right away? What's one strategy? Maybe for you, you're like, I'm going to take steps to make sure that I combat my imposter syndrome. Maybe I'm going to have more presence. I'm going to actually start building allies to get support on my ideas. I'm going to storytell better. I'm going to actually make that ask that I've been wanting to ask about my own career growth. What's that one strategy? So put that in the chat. What's one strategy you're going to commit to make a commitment? And I'll play some music as you do that. Put in the chat, what's that one strategy that you're going to commit to doing in the next 6 months? And don't overthink it. I'm going to face dominant personalities with confidence. I love that, Amanda. Put in the chat. What's one strategy you're going to commit to? Advocate for myself more. Make sure to make my voice heard. Amazing, Diana. I love these. These are so good. 20 more seconds. Don't overthink it. Throw in the chat. What's one strategy that you're going to make a commitment to? You invested the time to show up today. How are you going to make sure that you're applying these learnings and getting that growth? Storytelling, building connection, presenting ideas with more confidence, being more present, building allies. Amazing mindset, improving execution, making myself more visible. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. These are amazing. All right. Put your final thoughts in there. Really, what's one strategy that you're going to use to make a commitment to apply right away? Now that you've identified this, so in Arise, we're all about action and accountability. So I want you to think about, okay, how am I actually going to go achieve this? How am I going to be more present? How am I going to actually show up with more confidence to these dominant personalities? What does that mean? How am I going to get more confidence? How am I going to have more presence? How am I going to be more visible? What does that actually mean? In Arise Leadership Accelerator, we break down the steps to do all of this, and we pair you up with women from other companies, all high achieving, high caliber, low ego women from the best companies in the world, to help you have that accountability, but also the step-by-step tools. So if you want to go do this by yourself, that's awesome. Go for it. If you're like, I'm busy, I just need someone to go do this for me, then I'd love for you to come join us in Arise Leadership Accelerator. It's an opportunity to have intimate conversations with a group of women who are going through the same exact thing as you are, while you get to learn from proven frameworks that have helped thousands of women get promoted. It's really for you if you're someone who wants to confidently speak up in meetings, even when you don't have all the information or senior leaders are present. If you want your team to seek out your opinion, they're excited to hear what you have to say. They want you on their projects. If you want to get a yes in your recommendations, even from dominant personalities, from those people who keep us up at night, who we stress about, who don't give us, who dismiss us right now. If you want to turn that relationship around. If you want to feel like, imagine this, when you're driving down the road and you hit a red light after red light after green light after green light after green light. It feels so good, right? If you want to feel like that anytime you walk into a meeting, you know you got this. Last minute meetings, high stakes. You know that when you share your idea, when you give your feedback, when you give your input, people will listen. They'll want to hear what you have to say and they'll be excited to implement it. If that's what you're seeking, this is for you. If you want your executives to value as an irreplaceable team member, you want to be seen as someone who's indispensable, a rock star, a must-have. They're like, we can't imagine working on this without her. Be on the fast track to get that promotion and get that job security that you're seeking right now. If that's you, then I'd love for you to come join us in Arise Leadership Accelerator. You'll develop the skills, the practical skills you'll need to gain confidence in your abilities, to win the respect of dominant personalities, to be able to get a yes on your ideas, and to be able to get that growth, that promotion that you're seeking, even in difficult times. Because people are moving up. It's just not you right now. So these are the skills you need to be able to go do that. Basically, we cover all the topics that keep us up at night, but we never ever talk about. What do you do when you get emotional in a meeting? How do you navigate that? What do you do when someone's taking credit for your work? How do you overcome that? How do you make sure that people are aware of all the impact that you're driving in a very organic, natural way? Today, I've shared stories with you from graduates from the best companies in the world about how they were able to advocate for themselves, gain confidence, be able to get promoted, win over difficult stakeholders, deliver feedback in a way that actually landed, stand up for themselves, have a voice at the table. What makes this program really unique is 3 key things. First, learn by doing. Everything we will do in the program will have a clear step-by-step playbook of what to do, including what do you do when things don't go well, as always happens. When things blow up, that's the most stressful. That's what hurts your reputation. Those are the situations that we talk about. Our graduates describe this as an emergency toolkit. No matter what situation you jump into, There will be an Arise tool for that to help you think through it. You apply the learnings directly to your work day one. That's why people are getting these really quick wins around it. You're going to get to go through it with the community of your peers, high caliber, low ego women just like you. It's empowering to recognize that I'm not alone. A bunch of other badass women face the same exact challenges that I do. And you learn faster because you don't have to just learn from your own experiences. You get to learn from everybody else's experiences. So when the next blow up happens, you're like, I've seen this before and I know exactly what to do. Basically, this is going to be your Bible. People save all the tools as a bookmark. They use it even years after graduating from the program. They keep it on their desk. They just follow it step by step by step. And to help make sure you do it because you're busy, the program will help you stay on task to help make sure you're actually achieving your goals. So if you're interested in joining as a special for Girl Boss, you're going to get the $1,000 discount. And we have payment plans also available, so you can just email us about that. We also have a sponsorship letter if you would like to talk to your manager about sponsorship. It's been a great way to start practice advocating for yourself. And if they get a no, people are like, this is an investment in me. I'm just gonna make this investment. Because people have seen such a high ROI, return on investment, from the program. For example, one of our graduates got a 23,000 pay bump. She got more equity options and she got a title upgrade by the program. And this is happening even when people are, in the midst of budget cuts. They're getting such a higher ROI. They're getting more job security. They're able to stand out as someone indispensable. They're getting less stress. They're burning out, and this program helps them be able to feel more secure in their role, happier, more content, getting the growth they're seeking. And on top of that, you're going to get this bonus, Voice Your Value Blueprint. Now, secondly, enrollment right now for the cohort that starts in October 19th, is not open right now. We actually have a full wait list. But because, again, you're coming through Girl Boss, we're going to open up a handful of spots for you. So Amy's dropping the link in the chat to apply. If you're interested, apply. It takes 3 minutes to apply. And that way we'll make sure that you're going to get one of the small number of spots that we have available for Girl Boss for you to join right now and get access to those bonuses and that early bird discount. And really, this is for you if you're someone who wants to have a seat at the table, be part of the decision-making process instead of hearing about it afterwards and just being told what to do. If you're someone who is ready to stand up for yourself, if you're someone who wants to be seen as someone critical to the business, as a high performer, and you want to feel confidence in your abilities, you're ready to stop playing small. You want that support. You can achieve more. You want to get rid of those self-limiting beliefs, and you want to achieve your full potential. So I would love for you to come join us. We have women from the best companies, Google, Salesforce, Uber coming in, and so many more. The energy is off the charts. So if you're interested, just take a moment to apply. And with that, let's dive into any questions that you might have. So feel free to keep dropping in any questions in the Q&A icon in the bottom right of your screen. I love this energy. So let's go into that around it. So first question, what do you do if you're told you're influential, valuable, and have the results cost savings, but you're told there is no budget every year? Should you just look for another role? So I think that's a really good question. I imagine many of us are feeling stuck in this. We're delivering the results. We've been getting promised, but nothing is happening. So, there's a couple things. One is figuring out when people are giving that information, and we practice this a lot in the program, there's an art to it, but really calling this out, but in a really productive, professional manner. And so, saying, we've been having these conversations for this past year, whatever that time period is. And unfortunately, I keep getting told there's no budget for, I'm assuming right now in this, what you're talking about, maybe we can talk about a salary raise. So I'm keep hearing there's no budget for a salary raise, but we've been having this conversation for multiple years now. Where is the disconnect? I want to just understand that. I want to make sure I am compensated for my value. I understand that budgets are tight right now, but this has been a pattern over the past couple of years. And so how I just want to understand what is the disconnect? Is there an opportunity for me to receive increase compensation to match what I'm bringing to the table. I do. And you want to reiterate your excitement for the role, the company. You're like, I really love working here. I want to drive it. I want to drive more of an impact. And so I want to just have like a honest conversation around where things stand. See what they say. Often just like you being assertive, because, and for example, like, when I've been in roles and not just like asking for a promotion or a raise, but like even when working with difficult stakeholders, when I'm just taking things and be like, like for example, so many of our arisers, our graduates will share like when they're in a meeting, they come in with an idea, they know it's a good idea. And then someone else, after they share idea, someone else makes a comment. They're like, oh, I think we should do this other way. And on the spot, I call it deer in the headlights moment. Like they're like, okay, yeah. And so they just cave in. And if people know that you do that, like put a yes in chat if you're someone who's just guilty of caving in. Deer in the headlights moment, you just tend to be where you're just like, okay, yeah, let's just go do that. And so when you cave in, people know that. And so they're able to just like give you the answer you're looking for and then just be like, okay, like she'll go away. It'll be fine. So this is why it's really important in these conversations for you to like actually push back. But you don't have to do it. When I say push back, you're not doing it in a really aggressive manner. You're not doing this in like a non-productive manner. You actually have a genuine conversation around like, this is what we talked about in the past. This is not happening. I'd love to understand where the disconnect is. And when you have the conversation, you're like, yeah, I know it will happen the next year. Get it in writing. Like what needs to happen in order for me to get a salary raise? What needs to happen in order for me to get a budget? Now, of course, a promotion. Now, of course, if you are getting this answer multiple times, then you should probably consider looking for another role. But I'd recommend first go through these couple steps and angle and also do some research on your own. Are other people getting raises? What scenarios? What does the process look like? And arm yourself with that intel before you come into the conversation. Thanks for that question. So another question I see, after asking for a raise or promotion that went well, what is the best way to follow up and how long should one wait before bringing up the conversation? So I'm guessing you got promoted. Nice. Good job. Congrats. So when should you bring up the next conversation? I would say, I think it's, you want to frame it in a way, you bring it up pretty quickly. Good. I'm so glad, Charlene. Oh, I love that. Brilliant. Thank you for your leadership support and energy to uplift others. Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot to me. So for this question, how long should you wait? Is reframe the conversation to not like, when do I get promoted next? But it's thinking about, I want to make sure I keep driving an impact and keep growing within the organization. I would love to map out with you, what do I need to achieve to get to the next level? And I understand, I'm really happy and excited to be in this current position. I'm just like, just to help plan ahead, to help make sure I'm thinking about the right things. What are the kind of things? So you're reiterating, like, I'm excited to be here right now, but you're also showing that growth mentality. Like, I'm looking forward to the horizon. Like, I just want to make sure I'm aware and thinking of the right thing and then come up with a plan. So you can have a conversation pretty soon after, but I wouldn't frame it as like, okay, when do I get promoted next? It's more like, what are the kind of things I should be doing to make sure I'm growing and driving the biggest impact to my company? Thank you so much for that question. One of the questions that I often get is, how do I get dropped? I just got dropped into a last minute meeting and I tend to just not speak up. I tend to be really quiet in that. Especially because I tend to shy, when I don't feel like I have all the information, when I just don't feel fully prepared. Things are not perfect. And so what do? Well, what I'll tell you in this right now is what I tell our arisers is preparation. You actually have a lot more information than you probably realize. And so, you're working on a certain project, so you have a lot more context that you're coming in with. The other thing is, so in the program, we use a message preparation worksheet, and it's a tool that our graduates use even like 3-4 years after the program. Even when they switch companies, they'll take it with them because it's been so helpful to help them think through, like, who's my audience? What are they going to care about? What are the questions I'm going to get? And so you can, like, when you prep for that meeting, and like, even if you have 5 minutes, when you build that muscle, that's why it's so important to know how to influence, because when you build that muscle, you can do it in any situation, even last minute meetings or high stakes meetings. And so it's really important that when you're getting dropped into the last minute meeting, one, understand that you actually have more context. You can prepare, even if you're preparing for 2 minutes, when you actually have that muscle that we follow. And then third, I always love just asking people as we're coming to that meeting, what's the meeting agenda? What are our goals for the meeting? And that will help you align with people around, one, give you about 30 seconds or so to like get your mind settle down, calm in that moment. And then two, will also help make sure the meeting is really productive. So that's something that you can really use. And to get that courage to speak up, I totally understand that can feel scary in the moment. So that's why the confidence really kicks in. Like, you have to first tackle that feeling of self-doubt, that imposter, the feeling of playing small. And so we do a bunch of work around that, along with like giving the tools on like, here's how you influence, and these playbooks that you can follow step by step to help you feel comfortable speaking up in meetings, even when you don't have the right information, or even when you don't have time to prepare. But that's some things that you can start doing right now. This has been awesome. Thank you so much, you all, like, for showing up, all the energy, for just like investing in yourself. This has been amazing. So I want to give you a few minutes to, reflect on what we've just learned and really think about that strategy that you just committed to. How are you going to realize it? If you said, I'm going to feel more confident in the next 6 months, I'm going to work better and win the respect of dominant personalities, I'm going to have more presence, I'm going to share more compelling ideas. How are you actually going to break it down? If thanks so much, Amy. Like, just if you're like really ready to commit, and you really want to see like growth now and get these tangible frameworks to get that promotion and really just stand out in your organization, then come join us. I'd love that. And we will send out this recording. And thank you so much again for all that great energy. Like, this was amazing. Thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Bye bye.